Welcome to your online source for calculator tutorials. In this tutorial, we will calculate some typical compound interest problems using the finance command. If you're unfamiliar with how to use the finance command, I recommend you go back and watch the introduction to the finance command tutorial. Alright, we have three problems that we want to look at. All three are typical compound interest problems. Let's start with the first one. You're depositing a one-time amount of $2,500 in a savings account. What is the accumulated value of that deposit after 10 years at a fixed rate of 5% compounded monthly? Alright, let's open up a sub-entry here by hitting the return button. And we want to calculate this, so we're going to need the finance command. Go into your catalog, find the finance command. Alright, remember the order in which the variables occur. You're starting with the present value, then the future value, then the payment, then the interest rate per period, followed by the number of total compounding periods. Alright, we're going to start with the present value. In this case, it says you're depositing a one-time amount of $2,500. So the present value is $2,500. Alright, next is the future value, which we do not know. So for the time being, I'm going to leave that unknown by entering the variable FV for future value. Alright, comma, followed by the payment. There are no payments, so that amount is 0. Followed by 5% compounded monthly, so it's 5% per month, or the interest rate per period is 5 divided by 12. And then finally, the total number of compounding periods is 12 periods a year for 10 years. Now notice, I don't have to put in 120, even though that would be easy to do. I can let the calculator do the calculations for me. That'll be very helpful when we get to looking at mortgages where we're taking 365 payments a year or multiple years spread over long periods of time. Let the calculator do the calculations. Alright, go ahead and hit solve. This returns a value of $4,117.52. That will be the future value of this account 10 years later. Alright, let's scroll down to our second problem. In this second problem, you need $19,500 5 years from now. How much do you deposit today at a fixed rate of 3.25% compounded quarterly to meet this goal? All right, go ahead and return. Let's grab our finance command. All right, in this case, it's asking us how much we need to deposit today. In other words, we do not know the present value. That's what we're trying to solve for. We know the future value is $19,500 and that there are no payments. That's typical of a compound interest problem. And that the interest rate is 3.25%, but this is occurring quarterly, so per period is 3.25 divided by 4. And this is occurring for 4 quarters a year for 5 years. All right, so that should be set up correctly. At this point, we can hit solve. And that says that you should deposit $16,586.20 now in order for it to grow to $19,500 5 years later. All right, finally our third and final. Go ahead and hit return to get a second entry here. How long will it take $15,000 invested now at a fixed rate of 8% compounded monthly to grow to $20,000 if no further payments are made? All right, let's grab our finance command. All right, $15,000 is being invested now, so that tells me that that's the present value. I know my future value. I know I want the money to grow to $20,000. There are no payments, and then the interest rate itself is 8% compounded monthly. What I do not know in this case is how long it's going to take. In other words, I don't know n, I don't know the total number of compounding periods. So go ahead and replace that with the variable n, since that's what we don't know. All right, once you're finished, hit solve. And that tells us that n, the total number of compounding periods, is 43.3, so a little bit over 43. In this particular problem, the compounding periods occur monthly, so this represents a little bit over 43 months. This concludes our Solving Compound Interest Problems tutorial. Feel free to replay this tutorial or browse any of the other available tutorials on the course webpage.